Hi, I'm Juliet Degendorfer from Avalara. We provide the world's fastest, easiest, most accurate, and affordable way to manage transactional tax. Today we're going to discuss how Avalara integrates with Acumatica to handle all the facets of sales tax compliance. So, sales tax is confusing. Most people find that running a marathon is actually easier than managing sales tax. When you think about what it takes to effectively handle sales tax compliance, there are some challenges that everyone needs to consider in order to get their sales tax correct. So the first thing to think about with sales tax is what we call sales tax nexus, or where you have the requirement to collect and report sales tax. Now, nexus is usually established by having some sort of physical presence in a given state. That presence could be provided by having employees or contractors in another state. Maybe you have inventory or office locations in another state. It's possible that you could be traveling into other states to complete a service or to solicit sales. Any of those activities will create sales tax nexus or your requirement to collect sales tax from your customers. Next thing to consider about sales tax compliance is handling your exempt sales correctly. A lot of times when you are exempting a sale, in fact, most times when you are exempting a sale, you're required to collect some sort of proof of exemption in a form of a certificate. Managing those certificates is key if you want to protect yourself in an audit. So that's another point to consider when you are handling your sales tax compliance. The next thing that we want to look at is what we call product and service taxability. Now, there are millions of products and services available to everybody, and these products and services carry thousands of different tax rules, or what you might say, whether something's taxable or not. And if it is taxable, then what is the correct tax rate to assign to that sale? That's when it comes down to rate assignment. So there are over 13,000 different tax rates or tax jurisdictions in our country alone. You need to get that tax calculation correct in order to provide the correct tax amount to your customer, and then, of course, back to the states when you report that tax. And that's the last piece of the puzzle, reporting your sales tax. And that's done by preparing a sales tax return. So if you have the requirement to collect sales tax, you have the requirement to report sales tax and give that sales tax back to the state. These are the different challenges of sales tax compliance, and this is what Avalara can help you get done. You need to make sure that you get all of these points correctly completed if you want to be compliant with your sales tax. And if you're compliant with your sales tax, then of course you're going to be protected in an audit. So manually completing your sales tax compliance process takes time and costs money. Avalara can help you to manage all these facets around the sales tax compliance process by helping you to automate those tasks that you need to complete to get compliant. So a little bit more about Avalara. We were founded 11 years ago in 2004, but a few years prior to that, our technical founder, who was at another company, a company that held nationwide sales tax requirements, selling multiple products and services into multiple states, our founder at that time was tasked with coming up with some kind of solution to handle his company's sales tax issues. So he decided if he could build some kind of tax engine that would include the rates and rules and boundaries for the entire country, and then also build integrations to that tax engine with all the existing accounting platforms and e-commerce shopping carts that were out there. He knew that if he could get this done, not only would he have the solution for the company he was at, but maybe he'd have a solution for the small and medium business market in general. And well, of course, he was right. He hit the nail on the head. And today, Avalara is the industry leader in sales tax compliance. We have over 10,000 customers. We now integrate with over 400 different accounting platforms and e-commerce shopping carts. We provide billions of tax calculations every year to our customer base. We also help them to manage millions of exemption certificates so we can help them to protect themselves in an audit. And finally, we complete about 500,000 tax returns every year for our customers as well. So in a nutshell, the way that our system works is we tie into Acumatica to provide the full tax rates and rules calculation back on an Acumatica invoice. From a high-level perspective, the way our process works is this. The grayed out invoice here you see on the right side of the screen represents anywhere that one may need a tax calculation. When this invoice is saved, a call is made from Acumatica to the AvaTax tax engine in the cloud, represented by this orange A. The AvaTax tax engine in the cloud carries all the rates and rules dictated by every state and even every local taxing authority. When that invoice is sent to AvaTax, we take a look at some key factors on that particular invoice, including, of course, where the product is being sold to, individual line items on the invoice as well. We apply our tax engine calculation with the rates and rules back to that invoice, and within milliseconds, we provide a tax calculation back on the invoice for you. We can then take it a step further and complete, file, and remit your sales tax returns for you as well. So really what we are providing is an end-to-end sales tax compliance solution. AvaTax for Acumatica provides a sales tax calculation back on your Acumatica invoices. Now on the front end, all you see is a tax total on your invoice, but all the magic happens in the back end. On the front end, what you will notice is that AvaTax provides a total tax calculation back on your invoice, but all the magic happens in the background. So this is our AvaTax admin console. Home tab, simply a landing page, will provide monthly service notices, account alerts. We even give you a tax summary at a glance. At the bottom left-hand of the screen is where you can access our help center to get training, documentation, talk to our support team. And moving left to right, the Organization tab is where you go in to set up your company profile and your tax profile. Now, your settings will determine how exactly we will tax your services and products. We simply ask for a company name, a company code, and the Nexus Jurisdictions button is where you will go into our console to turn on tax calculation and filing in whatever state that you need it. Tax codes, tax rules, and items. This is where you will go into our system to map your items to our tax codes, which will ensure correct taxability. Now, one of the great things about AvaTax is once you set it up correctly, we will always tax properly. Because once you are set up, we will maintain the rules and the rates going forward. The Transactions tab is more like a reporting engine where you can get any detail about any transaction you send over to AvaTax. On my Transactions tab today, I'm going to bring up a transaction that was sent over as an Acumatica invoice. And I'm going to pick a month that I know I have some good data. So within our Transactions tab, what you see here is a list of invoices that were sent over from Acumatica to our service. The document code always corresponds with the Acumatica invoice number. Let's go ahead and take a look at this first document ending in the number 967. That was derived from my Acumatica invoice 967. When I open up that transaction, you'll see some of those key factors I mentioned earlier that we need in order to do a tax calculation. So we have our origin or ship from address. We have our destination or the ship to address. And then at the bottom of the screen, you'll see the two items that I sold on that invoice. I have installation services and an HP blade printer. If I expand these items, you'll see that at this address in California, I am required to include 5 different tax rates or jurisdictions. I've got my first one, which is a California state tax at 6.5%. My second one is a San Mateo County tax at 1%. I have a city tax at 0.5%. And then I also have two special tax jurisdictions, or two special taxes, 1% and 0.5% as well. Now, these 5 different tax rates made up a composite rate of 9.5% for this particular address that I'm selling to. If you see here, this installation item, I have this mapped to a specific AvaTax tax code. This tax code is defined as installation services associated with the sale of tangible personal property. Now, because this installation item has been mapped in my system to an Avalara tax code, this tax code has told us that installation services on this invoice were not taxable. So therefore, AvaTax tax engine did not return any tax back on this particular item. If you happen to know, most services are not taxable in the state of California, and because that particular tax code carries that research behind it for every state, we are always going to do the right thing when it comes to correctly taxing your products and services. The second item is an HP blade printer. Now, we have this one mapped to a tax code that considers it tangible personal property, or always taxable to all of your taxable customers. The line amount on this item was $20,000, but because this was fully taxable, AvaTax returned $1,900 in sales tax for that particular item. So that's how AvaTax assigns different tax rates and tax rules to your items on your invoice. The last piece of the puzzle for sales tax compliance is your tax returns. Now, nobody likes doing tax returns. You can outsource this function to us so you can spend your time on money-making activities rather than just filling out sales tax forms. The way that we automate tax returns for you is we provide what's called a monthly liability worksheet. The liability worksheet provides a snapshot of your sales and liability information for the period in which we're filing for you. So we just ran a transaction in California. Let's take a look at what we're going to report for California. You can see here on my liability worksheet, it says that I am doing 2 different returns for the state of California. The first one is a monthly form, which I believe is actually a prepaid remittance. The second one is a quarterly return. Now, the information I'm reporting here are the monthly sales, the taxable sales, so therefore non-taxable sales, and then the total amount of remittance that we're going to turn in back to the state of California. Each month, we ask you to review your liability worksheets. When it looks right to you, all that you do is change the return status here from select to approved. Then at the bottom right-hand side of your liability worksheet, we provide to you the total amount of tax that you're going to be paying back to the states for that particular month. We always fill out the forms correctly. Of course, always get them turned in on time, which means that if you are privy to any timely filing discounts or early filing credits, we'll definitely get those applied for you as well. We'll answer any notices from the states, and we'll let you know if you need to take any action. And then finally, we provide a full record back of everything that we have filed and paid for you. One of the ways we do that is by what we call our filing archive. Now, the filing archive is a place where you can look at exactly what we filed for you in PDF form. In this particular month, in November of 2013, I have 7 different tax returns that were filed for me. I can go ahead and open up those tax returns, and you'll see the exact version of the document we gave back to the state on your behalf. So that's an overview of the AvaTax Admin Console. There are some other bells and whistles. You can have multiple users and multiple states, as well as access to a very robust reporting engine. So if you think you ever need help with sales tax compliance, and chances are you do, go ahead and contact me at Avalara, or contact us through your Acumatica VAR. Thank you.